Welcome to The Experience, live with Russ and Scott. Join us every Wednesday at 7 a.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. Eastern on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. Learn more about the Experience community at our website, local.theexperience.video, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. The Experience is brought to you each week by these great sponsors. Present Gifting believes relationships are important. Moments matter. Join the early VIP access list at presentgifting.com.
And Capital Mortgage Source of Corvallis, Oregon. For all your mortgage services, go to capitalmortgagesource.com. And Ironhead Roofing in the Willamette Valley for all of your roofing, repair, and new roofs, and even solar. Go to ironheadroofing.com. And the Albany Habitat for Humanity. To donate or volunteer today, go to albanyareahfh.org.
And now let's get on with the show.
Hey, here we are, ready to get on with the show. I'm here with Cowboy Scott. How you doing, Scott?
Hey, I'm doing good. You know, I was just, we're just representing, right? So we got the state today. I'm here in Waco, Texas, and Britton, one of our guests. She's at a conference in Arlington, which is about an hour and a half. It's in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. It's about an hour and a half away from me. So I figure I'd put on the Stetson this morning just to represent. And this one, by the way, is made in Garland, Texas, right there in the Dallas-Fort Worth area from American bison hair. So there you go.
Wow. Well, you're looking pretty slick there, Scott. Looking good, looking good. Well, we're so thankful everybody's here on The Experience Live with Russ and Scott. We're here at 7 a.m. every Wednesday morning. That's 9 a.m. Texas Standard Time, 7 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. And after this, it sits on LinkedIn and YouTube forever, Facebook for 30 days. We'd love for you to engage in all that you do. But if you don't have time to watch, you can even listen on Spotify, Amazon, Apple Podcasts, all your favorite podcast platforms. We are on there as well, so you have time to listen. Appreciate that. Appreciate your engagement, and would love to have you guys join our YouTube page at the Experience.video. The Experience.video, it is growing. And Scott, where else do they find information on us?
I tell you, the best way to go to local.theexperience.com, the little website that's got information on the shows, the 3 shows that Russ and I do every week live. The Experience Local, The Experience Backstage, and our flagship show, The Experience. You can also find the radio stations that we're on. So we're on KYKN and
KSLM.
KWIL.
Oh, no.
KWIL. And then here at Waco, we have the Waco Experience, An American Story. And that is broadcast on KBBW, the mighty 1010 AM, reaching from Dallas to Austin. All of these are on podcasts everywhere. And so local.theexperience.video, you can find all kinds of information there, including things like Russ's book, Life Happens, and Then You Choose.
There you go. And Scott has many books out as well. Go to dscottsmith.com for more on Scott, russedge.com for more on me as well. And we're just blessed. This amazing community, Scott. Every Wednesday we get together, but there's so many amazing people.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to go back and say thank you to our sponsors, Habitat for Humanity, Ironhead Roofing, Capital Mortgage, and PresentGifting.com, by the way, is now live. People can go to PresentGifting.com because relationships are important. Moments matter. And imagine never forgetting an important date for those people in your lives. So you go there, put in the important people, put in the important events, and then you'll get little gentle reminders. And this is a free service. There's no charge, never going to be a charge for Present Gifting. We'll just send you a little message that says, hey, don't forget, your anniversary's coming up. The birthday's coming up. This is one that I love. You know, you have that person that has a child or a grandchild put in for 11 months out, and send a little reminder that to you, and it'll say, "Oh, there's a new grandbaby was born 11 months ago," and you can be the first one to say, "Congratulations on the 1-year birth of your grandbaby or your baby. You'll be the hero. Presentgifting.com, free service.
Man, I've got to get on there right away because I need all the help I can get, Scott. So I feel like you made that for me. So, well, listen, I'm so excited. We've got two amazing ladies on today, and I think we're going to get into it. Just want to remind everybody, please engage, please tag your friends and share this out. If you could do that, we would really, really appreciate it. Share and tag your friends because you know what? People don't always remember, just like present gifting, you need messages to remind you the Experience Live with Russ and Scott is on. So thanks for helping us with that. And with that, Scott, I think we're going to bring in the ladies. What do you think?
Absolutely. Yeah. We met Taya and Britton at Podfest in Orlando this last January. And it's good to have them here on the show with us. They have a fabulous show. I'm looking forward to them sharing all about what they're involved in.
All right. Me too. Well, here comes our big intro.
Hello.
All right. Oh, wait a sec. Taya disappeared. There you go. I clicked one.
There we are.
I clicked one too many buttons there, Taya. Sorry about that.
I got
Hey,
the intro.
ladies.
It's okay.
That was pretty cool. We had a really cool moment there. So
Yeah, wow. I just feel so bad. Okay, well, listen, we're going to start off with each of you giving us a little bit of information. Who the heck you are, what you're doing, what you're up to. So, Britton, let's start with you.
Oh, I was going to give it to Taya since I got the fantastic intro. But okay, so my name is Britton. I'm an equine practitioner. I write for a few different equine magazines, and I do massage, chiro, all that fun stuff for horses. I know a lot of people don't even know that exists, but yeah, that's what I do.
I'm trying to imagine you grabbing it around the neck and straightening out its back, but
that's
You should
literally what she
Taya's
does.
seen it.
we'll see some
That's
video
literally
maybe
what she
at some
does.
point.
Yeah, we need videos of that.
Well, we have a
Taya.
good one where it's like you can hear the crack really go and the horse go, oh, that feels good.
Yeah, I like that too. It's pretty cool.
That is so interesting. All right, Taya, take it over.
Well, my name's Taya, and I am a horse trainer day by day. So my average day looks like I'm riding anywhere between 5 to 12 horses a day. And I also do teaching and teach clinics in addition to that. So I spend a lot of time in the saddle and a lot of time in the arena yelling at people to sit up tall and ride their horse. So that's what I get to do day by day. And then on top of that, I get to co-host a really fun horse-related podcast with one of my best friends, which is Britton.
So let's go right into Uncinched, the unfiltered horse podcast. Who wants to launch into that one?
You go, Britton. You go.
Okay, so we'll do the little talk track for it, but the Uncinched podcast started a little bit as a joke. We both entered a competition, we both lost, and we were really sour about it. And so we decided to go to a coffee shop called Second Cup in Canada, and we were talking about how we deserved better. And then we were just making jokes and laughing, and Taya goes, "We're so funny, we should start a podcast." And I was like, "Yeah, we should." And then a couple days later, it kind of stayed in my brain, and then I sent her a message, and I said, "So Kate, I've actually looked into this. Let's try and do something." And then it grew from there, and we love doing it. And so the intention behind it is we want to give people a safe space that they can listen and learn about different experiences in the horse world. So we call it where you can uncinch and take the pressure off the horse world. Because if you don't know what a cinch is, in our world, that's basically this belt that goes along the belly line of your horse. And so then you tighten it to make sure the saddle doesn't move. And so it gives a little bit of pressure. So when you take off the pressure, you uncinch.
Well, I tell you, I would need as much help from the two of you as possible. It's been a few years since I've ridden a horse. I do love riding, but most of it when I was a few years younger. So, when do you guys start with beginners that just want to learn how to ride a horse that don't have a horse?
We kind of talk to people from literally all corners of the horse world. And that's one really unique thing about our niche industry in particular is you can be a lifelong learner in the horse world, and you can be 5 years old getting on a horse for the first time, or in your 80s and still have something new to learn. And that's one big part of why I think our show is so near and dear to us, is it's just kind of honoring the really unique and special sport that we're involved in. And we kind of get to not only talk about it from our perspective, but we like to bring people onto the show to talk about it from theirs. And there's so many people in our industry that are so incredibly passionate and so incredibly diverse and different, and they come from all different ages and backgrounds. So I wouldn't say that we're particularly focused on new and beginners, although we have a lot of stuff to offer them. But I feel like everyone can learn something new every single day, and that's one thing that we really try and showcase on our show.
This is something that it's interesting because I was out at a friend of mine. Cactus Rose Ranch is run by Dave Welsh and his wife, and they do everything from like 3 and 4 year old children up to 100-year-old men, right? And just watching him work with the horses and, just walking around the pen and the eye contact, the way you hold your shoulders. I mean, there's so many things that come into communicating with this animal that I also think that through your show, through your guests, through your experience, you're not just talking about horse and horse life. You're talking about life in general. Talk about how this expands out.
Oh, that's a great question. And actually, we were talking about this the other day. So that's very serendipitous. But basically, there is so many things that we take from horses that can translate into regular life. So one thing that I was a part of when I was younger, I worked at a facility where we had a lot of people coming in who maybe didn't have the best upbringing, were in trouble, had a lot of issues kind of going on, a lot of emotional issues often. And so basically what they got is they were put into a camp. They were not able to access Wi-Fi, your phone, nothing. And then they got a horse that was set up with them for a week or 2 weeks, depending on the camp style. And they had to basically learn to emotionally regulate through that. And so you can swear at me and cuss me out and say all these mean things to me, and it'll hurt me probably. But that horse has no idea what you're actually asking or saying. So it's not going to affect it in any way. And unfortunately, and fortunately, if you're not communicating effectively, they're not going to do what you ask. And so it was a great way of teaching a lot of these youth who were struggling to be effective communicators to be able to self-regulate and learn how to, communicate in a way that made them get what they were asking for, but not in a way that was so demanding and so angry, because a horse is not going to respond to your anger like that. And or if they do, it's not in the way you want them to. And so it was so fascinating to watch a lot of these younger kids coming in who were starting off with this incredible anger, incredible angst, and then by the end of the week they're like, how do I help this horse more? I want to help like clean up after it, where they were like, no thank you, like right away. And learning in that round pen of like, how do I regulate my emotions in this moment to be able to be an effective communicator? So you can see that a lot where they teach you how to, self-regulate a little bit, because if you don't, you're not going to get the response you want.
Well, that's interesting. That could be a life lesson, right, on communication. And so I want to go back and ask you both, start with Taya. How did you get started in this? Did you have horses when you were young? What drove you to this?
So I actually grew up a city kid. My family were like 5th generation farmers and ranchers on my mom's side, but my grandfather moved into town, and so did my family. But we always had a kind of connection to the rural side of life and the that kind of end of the spectrum through that part of my family. But growing up, I did literally every single sport under the sun. I'm Canadian, so I played hockey for a good portion of that, and did gymnastics, swimming, and I was always really, really drawn to horses. And my mom and dad were like, literally anything but that. Literally anything but that. And anyways, I was persistent, which I also think that's a life skill. So I learned that very well. And I convinced my mom and dad to let me ride horses just once a week. And we drove out so far that my mom's like, well, since I'm driving out here, I may as well take lessons too. And long story short, mom fell in love with horses and she bought one, and we thought that we'd be able to share. And then 6 months later, she had bought one. And now almost, I don't know, 15 years later, we have like half a dozen horses. So it just kind of infected my family, and I that's how I kind of got into it. And we ended up with some kind of spicy horses that we were beginners, and we didn't know a heck of a lot about what kind of horse to buy. And long story short, we went to an auction to buy my first horse, and he was not as advertised. So I kind of had to learn really quickly at a really young age. And all of those like hard-earned lessons is like, I guess it's just kind of taken me into my career path. And I had to start really young, but I think I was really determined, and I love the sport and I love the animal so much that you just kind of have to adapt and work on your regulation and communication skills, which takes years and years and years to develop. And yeah, that's kind of how I ended up here.
That is so awesome. So awesome. Britton?
So I have a ranching family, and so we run cow-calf in my family, and we always had horses growing up. So I would go to my grandparents' farm or my uncle's or wherever, and I've been riding since I was like 3 or 4 years old. My first ever horse, ironically, that I rode, his name was Buck, but he was the most gentle horse ever. He would never buck, and he was old, so he was like, nah, that ain't for me. But so I kind of grew up around it my whole life and just was exposed to it all the time. But my mom and my stepdad and my dad are not riders at all. And so they were very similar to Taya's parents, of like, nah, we don't want this. You can do it at everyone else's farm, but you don't need to do it here. That's expensive. And they're just not horse people, which is totally fine. But I never grew out of it. I was a horse girl through and through. I barrel raced a little bit. I started kind of getting more into rodeo, and how I kind of jumped into the job that I'm in is a little bit of a winding story, but the basics of it was I went to University for Animal Health and Behavior. At the time, I had really severe epilepsy that was uncontrolled. And so I was having seizures quite frequently. And so it was really affecting my pathway. And then I got into a really bad horse wreck, really, really bad, where I ended up paralyzing my leg. And I have, a leg brace for it and stuff. But I was with doctors who were constantly not listening to me. I would say, I'm in a lot of pain here, which was from nerve damage or whatever. And they would be like, no, it's not real. It's not there, because you couldn't see it or it didn't make sense. And especially with the epilepsy, where I was just always in pain after seizures. And they just told me that's the way it is. And I luckily had a care team with my physio who was able to give me intramuscular releases after seizures to try and help reduce those muscle tension. And so he really listened to me regardless of whether it made sense or not. And so that's kind of what turned me into the path I'm on, where I basically went, horses can't communicate necessarily where that pain is, or it doesn't make sense on an x-ray or whatever, but it's soft tissue. So how would I be able to help them and keep on showing up for that owner and showing up for that horse, even when it doesn't make sense or it's not quite as presented? And so that's kind of what turned me into where I am now, where I really try and focus on, even if I don't know why it's happening, I'm going to show up and I'm going to help you where I can.
Well, you just came through some amazing stuff to be now in a very positive position. I will also say that horse wreck is not a normal part of my vocabulary, but it's that's an interesting term, horse wreck.
Yeah.
I want to talk. I want you guys to talk about the podcast. And a lot of people, said, "Well, I'd like to start a podcast." We're at Podfest, just a wonderful collection of people, great community.
Mhm.
Can't speak highly enough for that. And we have two wonderful examples of what it means to be a member of the Pod Fam, as they say. And but let's talk about the business of podcasting. Tell us about your show.
I'll let you take that, Taya.
Yeah, no, that's a really excellent question. For us, I mean, we haven't been doing this for very long, so we were kind of coming into this blind. And
Yeah.
obviously, we're horse girls. We're not tech girls. We're not IT like that. I have a hard time sometimes plugging in my iPhone. So this was really, really foreign. And this is where our partnership has been super, super special because we're both like yin and yang in a lot of ways. And Britton was the gal who got the like technology and all of that stuff figured out. So that was its own side quest. But the show has become really interesting in how it's impacted our businesses. One thing that I find a lot of people like to comment on is, we have two different businesses, yet we have a show together, but we're very separate and we do very separate things. But the unique thing about Britton and I's relationship is we're complementary services. And we've been able to kind of use our show as a platform for both of those businesses. And we kind of talk about how so many things in the industry intertwines with each other, and that collaboration is kind of our biggest key to success in the industry as a whole. And we really like to share that on the show, but also to like life in general. You're not going to have absolutely everything figured out. And I know I personally have seen since starting the show a really large difference in how my business is doing, which has been super incredible. And I'm so grateful. But I think one of the biggest things that the podcast gives us is I think a lot of people really focus on, getting all the views and getting, your income from sponsorships and getting your income from the show directly. But our show has been our platform to let our potential clients know, or our future clients know, who we are, and to kind of develop a relationship with us and to get comfortable with us before they actually commit to working with us. And I think a lot of people kind of miss the mark in the marketing because people don't want to show their faces and they don't want to put themselves out there and get uncomfortable. But we're just kind of laying it out and being ourselves and showing people who we are. And I think that's really greatly dictating who's choosing to do business with us. And we just are ourselves on the show, and we have very different businesses, but very complementary businesses. We talk to people who are our potential competitors, who are, also body workers, also trainers. And, I think the big premise of our show and what we do and what we believe in is that there's space for everybody. And there's nothing wrong with uplifting people and showcasing other people, because when my books get filled, I want to be filling yours too, right? So,
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I tell you, I love that you guys, something very specific that really ties into a group of people that want to talk about horses, want to talk about your business. And I love what you said, just being yourselves. Just coming out, authentically who you are. And Britton, I think that, people are looking for that. And there's probably people, that are already completely into this. But let's say there's somebody new that says, wow, I'd really like to learn. I'd really like to get a horse. How do you help them?
So one of our segments is we call it Barn Talks. And so it's our way of being able to give you a lot of information that you might be afraid to ask. Something that is a bit of a problem in our industry is that too many people have been doing it for so long that they forget that you have to start learning somewhere, or they've learned it their whole way through because they grew up with it, like myself. And so they don't realize, like beginners, when Taya comes into the mix when she was younger, they'd ask questions and immediately it's this like, how dare you not know already? And so instead of helping propagate that issue, what we're trying to do is these barn talks where you can listen to it and not feel this judgment around not knowing something, because we don't know what we don't know. And it's not fair to expect everyone to know everything. And God forbid, I don't know everything, and neither does Taya, but it helps us also research things where we learn a little bit more and we become a little bit more knowledgeable on them. But these barn talks are kind of a wide span. They're meant for adult amateurs. They're meant for people who might already know but not know the in-depth of everything, and to just help give a bit more information. So one of those, for example, is we have it on, it's called A Gut Feeling, Navigating the Horse Digestive System. And it talks about all the different parts of a digestive system, how it works. And so it makes more sense if you have those cogs turning in your head, that you're like, oh, wait, this makes sense why they're more likely to get ulcers, or this makes sense why they're more likely to need different diets, and why sugar affects them in different ways. And so it gives you that knowledge without you having to ask for it and feeling intimidated that your question might be chastised, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally, totally. Well, I love this, and I love the fact that you guys are doing amazing things that, not everybody's doing. And so, but we are winding up the show for today already. So I need to have each one of you, so let's start with Taya, tell me your gold nugget of today's conversation and then how people get in touch with you.
Oh my goodness, gold nugget. I would say whatever you're doing, be authentic to yourself, and don't be afraid to put your voice out there, even if it's a little bit spooky. The more you do it, the better it gets. So best time is to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The next best time is now. That's my gold nugget. If you want to get in touch with me, you can find our Uncinched podcast, obviously, but me personally, my business is called Quality Equine, and quality is spelled, instead of Quality, it has TEA at the end. And my website is qualityequine.ca. And would love it if you guys got into touch. So thank you guys so much for having me and having us on the show.
You bet. And Britton, go ahead.
All right. My gold nugget, I'm going to use it with the experience. Your experience shapes everything, and it makes you who you are. And so you need to use that experience to your advantage. So that would be my gold nugget from here. And not to be afraid of the experience you have or where you come from, because those shape exactly the conversations you can have, and they can change your whole life. So I think that's my gold nugget. You can connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm not as big on there, to be completely frank, but I am very responsive with my business. It's called Stable Instincts, and I'm big on Instagram there. And then Facebook, if you want to. It's really easy to find me. Not a lot of people have the same name. And then those are the main ones. But if you want to follow our podcast, you can find it on Spotify. You can find it on Apple Podcasts, pretty much any streaming platform for podcasts, as well as we have an Instagram called Uncinched Pod.
Awesome. So great. So great. Hey, listen, we really appreciate you both so much. It was so fun to meet you at PodFest, and just so great to have you on today. We're going to have you on down the road. This was just too much fun, and we ran out of time. But I just want to thank you both and pray for a blessed day for you. We're going to say goodbye here on screen, but hang tight in the green room for just a sec. All right.
All right.
Great to see you
Bye.
guys.
Thank you guys
Take
so
care.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Working
Wow.
in the experience into the gold nugget. Killer
That was
good.
good. She gets extra
You
points
gotta
for that,
love
doesn't
that,
she?
right? Yeah, right.
Yeah. We'll have to give her a few extra gold nuggets for that. Well, Scott, what do you got coming up this week before we get out
Well,
of here?
I tell you, so we have the celebration of life for my wife on Saturday. So people can go to agingbetternetwork.com and get details on that. We'll have the streaming link there soon, hopefully today. But agingbetternetwork.com has the details on that. I'll be heading over to start up Waco. We've got the Waco networking group later today, and just a handful of things to put together. My daughter will be flying in. Daughter number 2 of 3 children will be flying in on Friday. So looking forward to seeing her.
Yeah, I'll bet. Well, Scott, thank you so much. As always, you're such a blessing to me. Love our time every week. I just want to remind everybody they go to russedge.com for more information on me, D. Scott Smith, for more information on him. Don't forget to go to AG Better Network for the information about Christine's celebration of life. Thank you for all of you that have been praying. And don't forget, you can still share this out. And also remember, we are on audio podcast. If you didn't have time to watch all of it, you can go to any of your favorite podcast platforms and find us. Would love to have you do that and just connect. Make sure that you engage, like, and share wherever you go. So with that, we'll be back at 7 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time, 9 a.m. Texas Standard Time next week. Praying for a blessed day for everybody. Don't forget to enjoy your life and enjoy
The experience, y'all.
There you go, y'all. See you.
Thanks for tuning in to The Experience live with Russ and Scott. If you enjoyed today's show, please share it with others, post about it on social media, or subscribe on YouTube. See you next time.